Alright, quick update on the DR stump grinder. This is the DR Premier stump grinder. And so I used it for the first time on a couple of small stumps. It did take the stumps out really well. It seemed a little slow, which is to be expected since this is the lower torque model and whatnot, but it worked. It did the job. In 10 minutes I was able to get two small stumps, probably 4 to 6 inches below the ground. Just a couple of observations for those who have not used a stump grinder before. So when you're standing behind the stump grinder, take a good look at the front end here. Okay, so the blade is completely shrouded. Alright, so it tells you where the cutting head is. Obviously it's there, but when you're standing behind the stump grinder, okay, and you're looking down, you can't tell where the stump is when it's underneath your cutting head, okay? So what I found is that I'm going to take a center mark. Zoom back out here. I'm going to find out where center is from the blade, and I'm going to mark it on the side. So what that will tell me is I know the blade is here, and if I put the center of the lowest point of where the blade is somewhere here, I will know to have my stump edge meet up to this point, because I can see over here. I just can't see anything once it's beyond here. So by having a mark here, I'll know where my blade needs to be when I'm working on a stump. It would be great if they had some kind of ballistic plastic or something that was here instead of steel. I understand the reason for steel. I'm just saying if there was a way to make it so that you could see what you were actually working on, instead of having to stop and kind of peek around and all that good stuff. Which is to my next point. The minute you let go of the operator control here, the engine stops. It's dead. You'll have to re-crank it and all that good stuff, which to me is a pain in the butt, so I may take a rubber band and leave it there. Also, when starting this particular model, this has to be engaged for operator presence when you pull the crank, okay? But then you've got to come down here and, you know, take it off choke and all that good stuff. So the issue that I have, okay, is that I'm having to reach over here, pull the crank, which is way down there, and I'm 6 foot tall, by the way, and I've got a long arm span, so I can do it, but I've got to then fiddle with this stuff, you know, to get it to run mode, all right? And that is a pain in the butt. And I'll tell you why it's a pain in the butt. And it could just be because of my particular machine, but when I fire this thing up, it wants to die almost immediately for some reason, unless I crank this and I'm right on this and then get it over to run, and then we're good. So I don't know why this thing wants to die once it gets cranked and starts operating, but once it's on run, it's very quiet. There's hardly any noise, and I almost think it's not working properly. But if I give it throttle and fully open up the throttle and get those teeth spinning, I don't notice any issues. It doesn't want to die. So just some things to be aware of. And like I said before, I don't get paid. I don't get products from DR. The only reason I got the DR stump grinder is because the DR trimmer has been wonderful to me, and that's the only other DR product I have. But quite honestly, it's a good machine. It is underpowered, I believe, for the price. You may be able to go out there and get a different brand, you know, maybe a Toro or something of that nature that's got more torque for less money. Again, the reason I went with DR is because I had previous product with them that I enjoyed, and knowing how well and how much I beat that particular trimmer up I thought this would be a good thing. So I'm going to give this a couple more goes and then give you a complete final review, but those are just some things that I picked up today when I was out there using it for 15 minutes or so. So, all right, well, on to the next.